Hello and welcome to part 9 of our drive to the Lake District. Okay, so just leaving Grasmere here, and we're just about to rejoin the A591 and head towards St John's in the Vale. Okay, so we're on the Gisborne weekend on the 28th and the 29th of September 2007, and we're on the Sunday we went for a ride. We ended up at Knott End, as I said before, but then those of us staying on the ride went back east and headed for Rivington Barn. Now, some people in the club hadn't been to Rivington Barn before. Lynn may have been many times. It's a place very, very close to our hearts, to my heart. It's our Lancashire's version of Squires, which is the cafe bar in North Yorkshire, not far from it's a place called Sherburn in Elmet, which is not a million miles from Leeds, but out in the country. It's lovely. But I know I'm biased, but I always said that Rivington Barn was much nicer than Squires. Squires is specifically for bikes, really, whereas the barn caters for everything from weddings to Bavarian nights. Lynn and me always sort of liked the idea of one of those Bavarian dance nights, but never did it. And of course, walkers, lots and lots of walkers and cyclists, as well as motorcyclists. And motorcyclists generally go up to the top barn, the Great House Barn, on Sundays. There is a barn lower down, the lower barn, and that is very, very popular with motorcyclists during the week, as well as other people just out for the day. You know, it's a lovely place. There's like a gift shop and cafe. You can get a meal in there, or just a pot of tea or a coffee or whatever. But also there's like what's it called? Like where they display heritage items of the area. You know, like not a museum, but something similar, which is always worth a visit. So yeah, so we're Rivington Barn. So we're I'm just interrupting. That's a view from Helvellyn, the highest mountain in the Lake District, which is, as it's just said on the screen, to your right. This is coming down towards Threlkeld, and this road, actually in 2015, 2016, I think it was, collapsed due to torrential rain, mudslides from the right there off the mountains, but also the underneath there's a beck, and it just undermined the entire structure of the road. The road was actually built in the 1940s, I believe. So you know, it's once again, it's an example of the infrastructure being left and left and left, and then when something happens, it's panic stations, and the road was actually closed for some time, causing absolute chaos for local people. They had to go over the Kirkstone Pass, and they'd have to either that, or they'd have to go on the A66. Obviously in winter time the Kirkstone Pass is impassable due to snow, so they'd have to go all the way up to junction 40 on the M6 along the A66, and you know, go to Keswick and then come back towards from Keswick to where they were living. You know, look at that view there. This is absolutely stunning. That's Thirlmere on the left. That's actually a reservoir, and if I'm not mistaken, it serves Manchester. I might be wrong. I'll check it out and I'll put it up on screen if I remember. But they've done a really good job of the road. They've reduced the speed limit to 40, which is fine, because why would you want to miss that beautiful scenery that you've got before you there? So they've done a really good job. I think the people who maintain the motorways actually did this. I seem to remember it was a special one-off because of the magnitude of the job, you know. So yeah, I'm really pleased that they've done this the way they have. They've made it like you'd never think it would happen, you know. You never think it'd happen, I should say. I just hope it never happens again. The whole area was devastated by Storm Desmond. And one of the places really badly affected was Glenriddin. Terrible damage, and fortunately nobody died, but the place was devastated by boulders, rocks, silt, flooding businesses, flooding homes, flooding hotels. The road collapsed. It was like, it looked just like there'd been an earthquake, you know, with the tarmac. It was just tossed everywhere, so it was bad. And again, you know, there's people saying, oh, it's due to climate change, but in my humble opinion, it's not. It's due to deforestation. It's due to non-maintenance, i.e., you know, allowing becks to, you know, become fast flowing. It's just lack of maintenance. I mean, the road structure in the Lake District National Park, the last time I rode it with Lynn, you know, one of the worst roads was the road from Keswick to the Hollister Pass. It was shocking. It was just full of potholes and craters, and it shouldn't be. You know, the road in the national park should be absolutely pristine. The road should be pristine everywhere, not just in the national park, but really bad. Right, so we're coming down towards St John's in the Vale here. As I said, the pub where we ate with the Northern Pan Riders. The Queen's of King's Head is on the right down here. Beautiful. Look at that view in front. Does it get any better than that? I don't think so. So yeah, back to my story. We're now at Riverton Barn, and we're having a good chat and about the weekend, and everybody, you know, had a good time. And well, I think it's in our time in the club, I'd say it was the best weekend that we went on, and I think a lot of people in the club would say it was the best weekend ever. It was great, and they're just so privileged to have experienced it with Lynn and all our friends in the club, who I'm still in touch with. A lot of people. We're still in touch with each other. So yeah. Alright, so going. So we had that bike for most of 2008, and we loved the bike, and Lynn especially. I mean, she was that pillion seat. It was like, you know, being on a you know, an armchair at home. You know, it was heated as well, and so was mine, but I didn't use mine. I always found it a little bit uncomfortable, but Lynn just sat there. It was great, you know. At least I've got me heated grips, you know, to keep my hands warm. But Lynn didn't have anything, so to have a heated seat was great. So we had that bike most of 2008, and then as the year was drawing to a close, I'd seen quite a few videos of Pan-Europeans. I'd seen obviously the Pans on the rides, on the club rides, and I must admit I was starting to feel a little bit, you know, homesick, shall we say. Missing the Pan. I really did miss it. So we, at the same time as me wanting to get back on a Pan, a friend of ours, Paul, and his wife Shaz, they were thinking about changing their Pan to a 1300. They had a 1100, or at least getting the 1300. I think I know they did. They kept the 1100, which was called Goldie, because it was the 50th anniversary model. 50th anniversary of Honda, and so I was like the go-between between Paul and Blackpool Honda, because they had a silver 1300 in. Can't remember registration, but doesn't matter. And Paul was interested in this bike, so, you know, I was like, as I said, a go-between. So when I put it to Lynn that I was actually, you know, feeling the need to change back to a Pan, you can imagine that Lynn was naturally initially disappointed, frustrated, but not altogether surprised, really, because of the way that I'd been previously with the. Well, no, I haven't really, you know, I guess I haven't really changed it, really, because we'd had the Deauville, and then we changed for a Pan, obviously, which was always on the cards. So I guess it was the first time, really, where I was having second thoughts about the bike we had. So anyway, so eventually Paul worked his magic and talked Lynn into the idea of going back to a Pan-European, and so we looked at Blackpool Honda, and I was in touch with Kevin, the salesman, But when it came out that Lynn was sorry, that Paul was thinking about changing his 1100 or buying another bike and a £1,300, Lynn assumed, wrongly obviously, but that this story of Paul wanting to buy a 1300 was actually false, and it was me, and I'd been not being completely honest about it all. So I remember Lynn losing her temper and being quite annoyed with me, feeling that she'd been cheated, and I had to do a really quick sort of explanation, give an explanation quickly, and it had to be absolutely watertight, because she really was angry. I've never seen Lynn so angry. I really haven't. So of course, eventually we sorted it, and all was well, and we ended up buying £1,300, a Candy Glory Red, and that's the bike there, and we called her Gloria. And that photograph there was actually when I returned from Blackpool Honda, and it was absolutely freezing. You can see that's really permafrost. It had been there for days. It was really cold, -3, and I'd ridden back from Blackpool, and it was just as cold over there. So there we are. So we're back on a pan-European, and it really, don't get me wrong, I miss the sheer comfort of the Gullwing, the fairing and the screen, you know, the huge cockpit that you've got on a Gullwing. And so riding the pan back, it was like getting onto a push bike, you know. But at the same time, I was so happy to be back on a pan. It was the bike for us, without a doubt. And we owned that bike from 2008 to 2013, but there's a couple of little hiccups along the way, which I'll get round to, and yeah, I'll leave it there. So we just got back on the 1300, and all is well with the world, and we've got 2009 season to look forward to, riding a pan-European. So here we are, we're coming towards the A66 at Threlkeld, and the mountain range in front of you is Saddleback, or its correct term, its correct name is can't remember now. Anyway, we'll see you on part 10. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye for now.